See the law of this jungle is as old and as real as the sky. And the wolf that abides will prosper, but a wolf that breaks it will die. You see out here in this jungle, we run it forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. I used to run with the pack, nowadays I run for the pack. Represent from the front to the back, balls in my heart, my city on the map. I was in the field, you're sitting on the bench. See me in the gym, rep till I'm bench. Sweat till I win, that's a victory stench. Yeah, we stay ready for the war, man, I settle in the score. Settle it. Right now I'm with the hype, I ain't in it for the light. I was down on the ground, now I'm up for the fight. I'm on it. Seaside at the dark, now it's into the light. Alpha mode, down for my team. I wake up and I'm chasing a dream. Done dirt, but my crep stay clean. Send for me, rude, boy, how you mean? Look at my count with the verses. Clean sheet in him, and I'm on a verse with. Prize fighter, I'm taking the purses. Deathmatch and your family in hearses. The law of this jungle, we run it forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. See out here in this jungle, we run it forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.
Matchday Live Extra is on the road again for yet another trip to the capital, and hopefully a successful one this time round. After 4 defeats out of 4 in London this season, today could well be the day. G-Tech Community Stadium in this part of West London. I'm Mikey Burrows. Alongside me here, as ever, is the Hall of Famer Andy Thompson, and joining us from home. Normally, we would complain that Claire Hakeman was in the warm, but actually it's unseasonably warm here in London at the moment. As you can see, Tomo is down to one layer. I think it's like 22 degrees or something at the end of October. Wow. It's remarkable, and hopefully this kind of crazy situation off the field and with the weather can translate into something that can get us going on the field, Tomo, because boy do we need something to inspire us. So if we can use this as kind of a restart and pretend that this is August and we can go back in time, maybe that'll help.
Yeah, why not? So we need something. So it's a glorious day down here. Perfect conditions. Sun's out. Hopefully we can get the result that we want. So like we all remember last week, not great. Even though we've had a few opportunities on goal, but the disappointment of not scoring again has let us down. So look, fresh start hopefully today, and we can go out and get something out of the game.
Claire, how do you look back on last weekend? Because it's a strange scenario in terms of, actually, if you talk to one or two people around, it was one of the best displays we've had in terms of our attacking prowess. Now, of course, we didn't score again, and that's a long-running issue. But actually, we looked quite good in parts. It's just defensively, every shot Leicester had went in, and it's hard to kind of prescribe exactly how to put that right.
Yeah, I think if you look at the stats, I think the stats totally read that we dominated the game in terms of possession. We had a lot more shots of them, I think 21-4 or 5 or something like that. But what they did was score the chances that came along. And obviously the free goal that was Tillerman's goal, the first one was absolute quality. The second one, I think, was a defensive error in there a little bit from Collins, slightly out of position, and Johnny gave up his ground too easily. And then when you're 2-0 down so early on, after we'd started really brightly in just those first 5 minutes, it was really disappointing. I think you could see just a little bit of nerves across the squad as well. I think that's possibly the worst I've seen Kilman play for a long, long time. And I think it was nerves related. I think, sometimes when things aren't going your way, it's quite tough, and you've got to get that confidence back, and we need to do that quickly today.
It's the key thing in football, Tomo, in responding and reacting to a result like Wolves had, like Brentford had last week, let's be honest. But you look around this group right now and you kind of go, right, some of you have got to step up because the situation is getting serious.
Well, it is. And we're running out of time just before the shutdown for the World Cup as well, and the games. And people are going to start to, get nervous. And we saw that last week, as Claire was touching on. So Kilman, who's usually positive going forward, his first 5 minutes, we saw him hitting balls in the channel. We saw some great balls forward. Then after that, they scored that great goal by Tillemans, and then all of a sudden, we were so negative. Again, confidence thing, when you're looking at it, got space in front of us, and we're still taking that option to go back or sideways or back, even back to the keeper. And we can't do it. We can't afford to hide a little bit now, We've got to be pushing forward. We've got to take the game to teams. And look, this is going to be a tough test today, but there's no reason why we can't get a result. There's no reason. We still, and we've said it time and time again, it's having that belief in your teammates and in the squad as a group of players that have got to get themselves through this. They're the only ones who can sort this out, the players. They're the only ones who can get the result today.
That's the thing, isn't it, Claire? That, listen, we can all talk about who's the head coach. We can all talk about other roles around the football club. But the responsibility at the end of the day comes to those 11 who cross that white line. And at some point, they have to do it themselves and drag themselves out of this situation.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they've got to find it from within themselves. And you want the big game players. We need Neves, we need Costa, players with lots of experience in there as well to get these players through it. You've still got some fairly inexperienced players on the pitch in terms of Collins, in terms of Premier League appearances, Kilman, still Bueno. We they're going to need help through the games. But I think if there's more than enough ability and quality in this squad. I totally do believe that. It's just that we need maybe a little bit of luck. We spoke about the fine margins at Crystal Palace, at Leeds away. How we didn't come away with some points from those games, I'm really not sure, because we were in a position the game was ours, and we just don't seem to be able to quite see it through. So I think today is huge, and the players need to step up. Nunes, I think we need a performance from him today, and we've seen lots of promising signs from Adama in recent weeks, and hopefully the confidence in his performances recently will really push him on. And I really feel like Costa, this could be the day for him to get a goal, because he had a couple of decent sighters against Leicester City, and we've got to just start converting the chances that we have.
We'll talk about goals specifically a little bit later on, and talk about some of those that we've scored, and try and work out a way of scoring more. Tomo, of course, scored quite a few in his career, though a number of them were penalties, so I don't know how he managed to get himself
They all count, mate. They all count.
And Claire was a flying winger back in the day, so was
Long
well
time
known
ago.
to setting up chances and whatnot. So we'll try and go through, and as ever, you can get in touch and have your say as we go along. Use the hashtag Wolves Live at Mikey Burrows on Twitter to have your say. Send us your predictions. Just tell us where you're listening and watching us as well today as well. It's always good to get a sense of the Wolves community and how you're feeling ahead of the game today. It's difficult to predict. It's been a difficult time, and this is normally the time of the programme where we would show you the highlights of the last game. But we kind of thought, you know what? We don't really want to do that, because no one wants to go through the pain again. So we won't bother. But in a moment, we'll show you the best of what happened in open training this week as the players went to entertain some youngsters on half term, after we've given over this slot to a very worthy cause.
I know you are.
Hold on.
Jay. We are back in the capital today for the fourth time this month, this time at the G-Tech Community Stadium to face Brentford. This is our 30th meeting with Brentford and our second visit here in the Premier League. Our visit last season was perhaps most memorable for that drone that stopped play for 20 minutes. Hopefully we won't have any more of that here today, but also, of course, for the brilliant strikes from Ruben Neves and João Moutinho that secured us the win. Ivan Toney also scored in that game, as he did in the reverse fixture at Molineux last season as well, so he'll be one to keep an eye on today, especially given his goal scoring record so far this season. He's already racked up 8 goals in 12 league appearances. It was a difficult weekend though for both Brentford and Wolves. Thomas Frank's side also coming in today off the back of a 4-0 loss. Theirs at the hands of Aston Villa. The Bees are currently positioned in 11th in the Premier League table with 5 points more than Wolves, but similarly to us, we're wanting to come into today and bounce back from last weekend's defeat with 3 points here this afternoon.
Hopefully there will be 3 points. This is the starting lineup that Steve Davis and James Collins have selected for today. 2 changes. Nelson Semedo comes in for Johnny at right back. Boubacar Traore replaces João Moutinho in midfield. That man, Adama Traore, scored Wolves' last goal, their last goal in London just over a week or so ago. Hopefully he can inspire the team today. It means Jose Sarr in goal. Semedo, Collins, Kilman and Bueno continue as the back 4. Nunes, Neves and Boubacar in midfield. Adama, Costa and Pedence up top. On those changes, Claire Hakeman, I'll come to you first. What do you make of the defensive one? Semedo in for Johnny.
Yeah, I think I think he did really well first half. I thought Semedo had a strong first half against Crystal Palace. Against Sahar. Second half, possibly at fault for the goal, but I think he's solid. He brings something different as well in terms of how he can link up with Adama as well. And I think just the last few weeks, Johnny's just not quite looked quite as much of the player as we've seen previously, and sometimes that's a little bit of confidence affecting performance because we know there's a hell of a player in him, but last couple of weeks looked a bit nervy and little bit uncomfortable, like he's lacking a yard of pace. I'm not sure it's a fitness issue at all. So I think Semedo is a fantastic option for us, and today will be a big game for him, and I want to see him linking up with Adama as much as possible to try and get forward and impact the game going forward in the final third.
Yeah, Tomo, Johnny has always been kind of seen as the more solid of the fullbacks / wing backs the Wolves have had, but that's not quite been the way in the last couple of weeks. And Semedo first off against Wilfried Zaha at Palace really got a grip of him. He drifted off in the second half a bit, and I think he had a bit of illness, which is partly why he was out of the team at the weekend. But they need him, don't they? Because especially the way that they're playing now, effectively when in possession they're a back 3 to allow Bueno to push high. They need Semedo to be disciplined and to do that job right.
Yeah, it is, but there was question marks over the way he could defend. There was no doubt about the way that he went forward, but there was question marks when he first come to the club about how his defending was going to get on. Now I think that he's improved in that area. Is that through settling down into the team, the area with the players? I don't know, but he's definitely improved in that area for me. And I just think that at the moment Johnny probably needs just to come out. We looked at him on Saturday against Leicester. He looked heavy-legged, a bit lethargic, unlike him, and that's the question mark. It's very unlike him. He looked like he was struggling throughout the game until he come off and was subbed. But it won't do him any harm. It won't do him any harm. So look, I know the team is struggling for confidence all round because of the results, but I think that he did struggle last week, and I think Semedo just gives that a little bit more going forward, where Johnny hasn't in the previous weeks. Give us that runs and that determination going forward, what he usually did. But I think Semedo will give us that a little bit of an offer on down that right side, especially with Traore.
Claire, you were there at Sellers Park to see the first start for Boubacar Traore. He returns to the starting lineup today. What do you think he gives different to João Moutinho?
I think he's just a little bit more aggressive in his play. Obviously, he gives us quite a lot of height in terms of stature because he's a tall guy. But I think he just breaks up the play. I think he really won't give them any time on the ball, and he'll make sure that they don't settle into their way of playing. He likes to tackle. He was getting very stuck in at Selhurst Park. Gave a few fouls away early doors. So I think it's about him having that little bit of discipline and keeping his position a little bit. But also it may well release Nunes to go and impact and join in a little bit more with that front three. And we've seen positives there in terms of the way that him and Adama could connect, but we haven't quite seen it actually work as well as we'd like to. But it is early days in terms of that partnership. But if it releases Nunes to join in, there's lots of potential with him in that final third and getting in between the lines. Hopefully, Boubacar being in the midfield with Neves will release him to get forward and join in.
And just quickly, Tomo, we talk about consistency is needed sometimes. Actually, that front three is looking quite consistent now in terms of selection. It's whether they can consistently produce and get the goals is the overriding question, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing that we've said this before. Your forwards are judged on goals and what they offer to the team to try and get them to win games. At the moment, it hasn't fired. I know he's been consistent with the picking of the three, but they've got to produce. They've got to start doing something in front of goal. They've got to start either scoring or assisting or just something to give us some kind of advantage to hold them. We can't just keep relying on defending. We can't just keep relying as defending as a team, but as a back line as well. So looking, you've got to score goals. Changes games, changes the confidence, changes the way that they think of things, and that's what they need to do. They need to get something in front of that goal.
We'll talk more about goal scoring and what could possibly happen to try and change our fortunes in a moment after we've heard a little bit from Steve Davis in the pre-match press conference.
Hi, Steve. What are you expecting from Brentford tomorrow? They've had a sort of up and down campaign so far, but it's always a very, very tough place, and Thomas sets his teams up very well, doesn't he?
Yeah, very powerful, organised, aggressive team out of possession, and obviously have the threats that they have going forward. So we're fully aware of, we've obviously analysed them very well, and we looked at the strengths and weaknesses that we've tried to pick up on, and we tried to work on a plan this week to get something from the game, hopefully.
Wolverhampton is a proud and diverse city, proud of its history and proud of its people. When times are tough and life is challenging, Wolverhampton stands together. At Wolves Foundation, we are the heartbeat of the community. We support thousands of people across the city of all ages and abilities. Half of the people we work with are from areas among the most deprived 10% in the country. We encourage people to become healthier and more active. 92% of our participants have improved their mental and physical well-being. We develop lifelong learning and skills. 90% of our participants have improved their educational achievement. We work hard to build safe, strong, and active communities. 84% of our participants feel they have contributed to a safer, stronger, and more inclusive community. Football is such a powerful sport. It brings us together and drives us forward. At Wolves Foundation, we are proud of our work and proud of our impact. Creating opportunities and changing lives.
Wolves Foundation doing great work as ever. Right, we need to try and find a way to score some goals. We have clearly not been scoring enough of them, even to the point where I'll let people in on a secret. Me and our producer Aaron, who you never hear from, you never see, but basically manages to keep all three of us somehow on script, which is the hardest job to possibly do, as I've just gone off script right here, right now. But we have a conversation beforehand, and we were like, right, we need some goals to show. And we were trying to think of the games that we'd scored goals in that we could show you the goals that we had, because there simply hasn't been enough. And so the $64 million question, is that still a thing? Tomo, is what do we do to change it, right? Because it cannot simply be as basic as getting the ball on target. And yet it feels like it is that basic because so many of our shots are not on target.
It is. Well, you look at that. So was it 21 attempts on goal last week? The keepers made one save. So that tells you if you're not hitting the target, you're not going to get a chance of scoring goals. So look, the more you hit the target, the more opportunities you're going to get at scoring. And unfortunately, we're not doing it. We're not having the shots. We're not taking risks. We're not having a gamble. We're not shooting from various ranges on the field. And I think it's just being positive in the right areas. And that's going to be the important part for me. If we're going to continue to try and push ourselves up this table, we've got to be positive. So the positive area, the top third, somebody's got to take it by the scruff of the neck, as you could say, and just take that gamble, just have a go.
Claire, as we're seeing here, though, when we get it right, we look a good team.
Yeah, we do, don't we? And like we've said before, we've got the qualities most definitely there. Obviously, we're missing a few key players, Jimenez, Neto, but the quality is no doubt there. I think it's just making things happen. And I know that Steve Davis has spoken about just creating better opportunities and being a little bit more direct. And I do think since Steve Davis has taken over, I do think we've been a little bit more direct with the type of chances that we are creating. They're trying to get crosses into the box, which will probably suit Costa a little bit more. Adama's been getting into good positions and getting crosses into the box, which previously we weren't doing. At the start of the season, we spent a lot of time playing some lovely football, very intricate, but going nowhere and not really creating quality chances in the final third. So we are seeing better quality chances, but the ball's still not going in the back of the net. So there's got to be a little bit about decision-making, when and where to shoot and in the right positions and getting the right people on the ball in the right place at the right time. And, of our front three, Costa is yet to score, but we know that Podence has scored twice this season. Adama's scored once. So we really need to get them on the ball in positive positions and get some shots away and really work their keeper. That is key today.
I just think so, also as well, just mix it up. I know we want to play this attractive football, but we're getting caught. We're getting caught by either giving the ball away or losing possession of it. I think sometimes in that first 5 minutes against Leicester last week, we turned them. We put it into the channels. We put it beyond the defenders. There was chasing back towards their own goal, and it caused them big problems. Then all of a sudden, and again, we keep going back to that goal, what they scored the first one, and we stopped doing it. We stopped doing it, and we started playing, inviting teams to come on to us. I just think the pace that we've got and the quality that we've got, just turn them. Just mix it up. Don't just think, oh, we've got to play everything to fit. You haven't got to. You've got a lad who's playing right wing who, in a foot race, is going to beat anybody, Traore. Sometimes just mix it up. Just play it. It was effective in that first 5 minutes or so, and then we stopped doing it. And it made life easy for Leicester then. And as I said, they've had, 4 attempts on goal, scored all 4, which is a bit of a blow to us. But I just think that by doing that, they looked in trouble last week. They looked in trouble when we did that. And we just got to get that into us as a little bit. Mix it up. Can we turn them? There's nothing wrong. It's in a big whack up front. It's a quality ball into the space for players to run onto.
Well, listen, we are trying to think of ways to inspire the players, thinking of ways to change our luck. And I realised that there was a tradition that Tomo and I used to have at stadiums, wherever we would go, where I would get a little photo of him. So we've gone back to it and I posted it on social media, and I just want to show people, if you've not seen it yet, look at that handsome devil. That was just me shouting Tomo, and he turned ready with the full blue steel, already with his pout. Look at how handsome that guy is. Unbelievable.
Unreal.
You wouldn't know that he's a grandfather, would you? What a guy. What a guy. We've got another idea, which we're going to show you in a couple of minutes' time, to try and get a feel-good factor going. But in the meantime, let's look back on our last visit to the GTEC Community Stadium. On down the line for the run of Dendoncker, forced out towards the corner flag. Support from Semedo, and now from Neves. Feeds it infield to Moutinho. Has time to turn. Semedo back to Moutinho. Lovely football, brilliant goal! Absolutely stunning from João Moutinho. Wonderful, wonderful strike from 5'7" of football heaven. Best bit of play of the whole game. Christopher Ayer up towards the halfway line, looking to run it forwards, and Toti Gomez tried to win possession, and the referee is going to pull it back. He waited a long time.
Give him a red.
Oh, it's a red card. Toti Gomez is sent off. He's jogging back onto the field. He blows his whistle, makes the VAR signal, and it's rescinded, and it will be a yellow instead. In the meantime, Wolves still defending this free kick. And Burmo trying to lift it in towards the far post. It's struck across goal and it's struck in. And they're level. Ivan Toney with an excellent finish at the far post. Daniel Pedence trying to feed it in behind for the run of Semedo. Semedo to the byline, fizzed across through, it comes to Aït-Nouri, tees it up for Matinho, now for Neves, one touch, Neves to Khalid!
Oh, yes!
Oh my word! Ruben Neves with a stunning curling finish into the bottom corner, and Wolves are back in front! Brilliant play and a wonderful finish from a man who only scores classic goals. Infield towards Ruben Neves. Neves stepping away. He's got Traore and Dendonka trying to make runs through the middle. It's Adama Traore. It's the penalty area.
Yes!
Traore smashes it home at the near post. It's Adama Traore again. His second goal of the season on his 23rd appearance. 12 goals and 154 appearances. Oh no, offside. Offside, the goal isn't given. And there's a lot of Brentford fans who had walked out and left who might now need to turn around and come back in. We scored goals. We had shots and we scored goals. Oh, pinch yourselves. Hopefully today
Back in the day, mate.
It feels like a long time ago. Hopefully we can repeat the feat today. Just quickly on Brentford, Claire. They've made a couple of changes. We think they're possibly going to a back four today in response to their 4-0 beating last week in very different circumstances. But this is actually two teams, it shouldn't be forgotten, that both need a response, and therefore maybe Wolves can use that to their advantage. And if the crowd get on their backs early here, that's got to be the main aim, right?
Yeah, I think Brentford have made a brilliant start to the season. You know, they'll be quite happy they're in 11th position and, you know, looking good for it. But they're also on a little bit of a run now where they're needing a win. Not probably quite as much as we are, but, you know, they need a win. They need to bounce back. Both of us have lost 4-0 in the last game. So really, that should be the team talk in terms of both teams really want to go and get the game by the scruff of the neck and go and get some goals. And that's going to be the focus of us. We know that Brentford are physical, and I think Boubacar Traore being in the middle there is integral to that. And maybe that's part of the decision making on that one in terms of why he starts today. But you saw in that little clip there, that little run in the box by Semedo that created that Ruben Neves goal early doors. We need a bit of that creativity to get in between the lines. This will be a tough place to come to today, but we've got to be positive and really try the best that we can to try and get the result.
The only team to beat them here in 6 games, Tomo, is Arsenal. So the task is tough, and yet they have shipped goals away from home. So really, you know, I was chatting to one of our analysts beforehand, and I think Brentford are one of the worst in the league in conceding early. And they concede corners, they concede chances. So this is it, isn't it? Get yourself in front in the game and then cling on for dear life and get 3 points.
Again, just be positive. I just think that you got to take the game. You don't want to come to places like this and sit back and just defend. Don't matter if you're 1-0 up or 0-0. You've got to try and take the game. You've got to try and give them something to worry about. If you're going to just sit back or pass the ball back to your goalkeeper, your centre-halves, all you're going to do is invite pressure, and sooner or later you would think that they're going to catch up on one of our mistakes. And you don't want to do that. If we're positive, take the game towards them. I keep saying top third, keep pushing it. We'll get something out of it. But it's going to be interesting to see how we handle their front twos, to see how they go. Because, as I say, they caused us problems last time. So it's going to be important that we handle those two.
Right. Score predictions, Tom, I'm presuming you're going 2-1.
2-1.
Claire?
I'll go 1-0.
Oh, now you put me in a quandary. Normally we're not allowed to have the same prediction. I mean, listen, I don't know what's going on with me this week, but I'm going to go for a 3-0 Wolves win. Who knows? I mean, that could be probably sounds ridiculous. I admit it's probably ridiculous, but who knows what could happen today? Listen, we will be there for full commentary at wolves.co.uk and via the Wolves app. Join myself and Tomo for that. Claire will be with us at half-time and full-time. Join us, please, and join in the community and the family. And
can I just congratulate somebody who's sitting right next to me as well? He's just
got engaged. Yes.
Got engaged this week. So congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much.
Oh, there you go.
It's amazing.
He showed me the picture on one knee and everything he was. So
I
congratulations to him.
I managed to get back up off that knee and make it here to the community.
Please, mate. Please,
Thank you, mate.
Oh,
Thank you.
amazing news.
I've already told Tom he needs to buy a hat for a future ceremony at some point in the future.
It could
but
be
yeah,
page boy.
There you
I
go.
love that. A flower bro.
Flower bearer.
Yeah, I think it works.
Tossing
Yeah.
out flower petals before the ceremony.
Throwing them on Mikey.
Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
So, as you know, we like to do things a little bit differently here on Matchday Live. And we thought, you know what? We need something, an inspiration. We need holy inspiration. And therefore, there was only one man we could turn to when it came to how to score goals. And maybe, just maybe, some of this might rub off on the players. So we will leave you with Stephen George Bull.
the law of this jungle is as old and as real as the sky. And the wolf that abides will prosper, but a wolf that breaks it will die. You see out here in this jungle, we run it forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. I used to run with the pack, nowadays I run for the pack. Represent from the front to the back, balls in my heart, my city on the map. I was in the field, you're sitting on the bench. See me in the gym, rep till I'm bench. Sweat till I win, that's a victory stench. Yeah, we stay ready for the war, man, I settle in the score. Right now I'm with the hype, I ain't in it for the light. I was down on the ground, now I'm up for the fight. Seaside at the dark, now it's into the light. Alpha mode, down for my team. I wake up and I'm chasing a dream. Don't dirt, but my crap stay clean. Step for me, view, boy, how you mean? Look at my count with the verses. Clean sheet in him, and I'm on the verse with. Prize fighter, I'm taking the purses. Death match and death, I'm making hearses. The law of this jungle, we run it forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. You see out here in this jungle, we run it forward and back. For the strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack.